Hello, Energy News readers. Today I want to talk about a story that ran on our site on Thursday, December 7th. And the story is about how the National Energy Board granted 2 permits for the Trans Mountain Expansion Pipeline that were supposed to be issued by the City of Burnaby. But Kinder Morgan, the parent of the Trans Mountain Expansion, went to the National Energy Board and got the federal regulator to issue the permits instead. And of course, Mayor Dec8, Corrigan, the mayor of Burnaby, was shocked, he said, and not happy about it. And he said that the city was not dragging its heels and so on and so forth. So let me explain to you why the National Energy Board did what it did. Under the Canadian Constitution Act, which is Section 92, subsection 10, the Canadian government is given jurisdiction over what are called interprovincial works. And a pipeline qualifies as an interprovincial work because it crosses the boundary between 2 provinces. In this case, from Alberta into BC and down on to Burnaby. And so this authority over interprovincial pipelines has been tested in the courts. There are precedents that go back all the way to 1953 that reaffirm the Canadian government's sole and exclusive jurisdiction over pipelines. Now, it's true that the provincial governments and the municipal governments do have to issue permits for some of the less important work that goes around building a pipeline. So, for instance, clearing brush from the pipeline right-of-way, regulating that falls within the province's regulations, within its authority. And there are a number of those that happen at the city level and municipal level as well. But there's a very important principle called paramountcy. And what paramountcy says is that the junior governments, the municipalities and the province, can't override, they can't do anything to frustrate or impair the authority of the federal government. So for instance, they can't deny permits, nor can they drag their feet on permits. That's just simply not allowed. And what the Canadian government does is it delegates its authority, in this case, to the National Energy Board. So the NEB effectively acts as like the Canadian government, or with the power of the Canadian government. And so when Kinder Morgan decided that the city of Burnaby was dragging its feet on issuing these permits, it went to the NEB and it asked the NEB to issue the permits. So the NEB held a couple of days of hearings, considered the matter, and yesterday it granted the permits, and thus angering Mayor Corrigan. And we're going to see a lot more of this. And so it's really important to understand, why is the city of Burnaby, knowing full well, because Mayor Corrigan himself is a lawyer, why is the city dragging its feet, delaying, and so on? And the reason is, of course, that it's opposed to the pipeline. And it knows that the company will go to the NEB, and it knows that the NEB will grant these permits. It's already did it 2 years ago on another project. And so what it's trying to do is create anger and outrage even more than currently accompanies the pipeline project, so that people are really angry. And then as the next year, when the pipeline construction starts, then there will be protests, and the government's hope that they will be able to put enough pressure on the Trudeau government to maybe get them to back down and disapprove, or in some way change the project. And so this is not about constitutional law. It's not about jurisdiction. Those issues have been settled a long time ago. What this is about is politics. And I don't think that surprises anybody.